Hi and welcome to Polly Puts Colour On. In this video I'm going to be sharing all of my completed pages in my Hanna Karlzon books. Now you've probably seen from the thumbnail that I've got rather a lot of her books. I believe I've got all of them apart from Grains of Gold, with that being a compilation one. And obviously she's got a new one coming out very soon, which I'm eager to get my hands on when that is released. So this is going to be a part one, part two kind of situation. So if you're not already subscribed, please click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on part two. Obviously, please give a like to the video if you're enjoying the content as well. And please drop a comment with which is your favourite Hanna Karlzon book in particular. Is there a page that I share that you particularly enjoy? Just drop a comment saying hi. Any little comment, any little like. Obviously, clicking subscribe does really help to make the channel grow and get pushed out to new people. So in this video, I'm not going to do it in any particular order because apart from for her newest, smaller books, the older ones, I didn't necessarily get in the order that they came out in because I was a little bit late to getting Hanna Karlzon's books. I believe I only started buying these larger ones when some of the smaller ones were already out. Realised how gorgeous her artwork is and how wonderful the paper is. So then for kind of one birthday, asked my mum and dad, right, sent them a wish list, and bless them, they bought me basically all of Hanna Karlzon's books. And they are absolutely incredible paper. But sadly, although I've got a lot of her books and I have done quite a few pages, there's some books that I thought I'd coloured more in that it turns out that I haven't. So as far as possible, I will try and let you know what mediums I used if I can remember. So this one, I believe, is just some water-based marker, tiny bit of pencil shading, a little bit of gel pen in the middle, and that was it on that one. And then here we've got, again, a little bit of watercolour pencil, a little bit of gel pen, and then this one I was really pleased with how this turned out. So this was a distress ink background, which I don't always do all that often because I'm not that confident at doing it. I was really pleased with how it turned out. Bit of inktense pencil. I want to say that the skin tone would have been my Crayola skin Colours of the World, I think they're called pencils, because I'm not very confident at doing portraits. Prismacolors, I would say, for the fur, and then again, load of gel pen. You see how sparkly it all is, and then I've even put a bit of green stickles in as well on some of the jewels just for a bit of extra bling, and then some Sakura glaze pens for the stars. So I was really pleased with how that one turned out. You probably see as well that some of the glitter from the gel pen, is it just about picking up on camera? Some of the glitter from the gel pens transferred onto the paper as well, but I love the effect that that's given. So when I colour in this one, with this being spirit animals, obviously it's kind of double page spreads, isn't it? So when I do colour in this book, I do always try and make sure that I do both of the pages. So this here was mainly Inktense pencils, a little bit of Prismacolor shading over the top, but not much. Again, it would have been my Crayola Colours of the World pencils. Load of gel pen, and then I remember that I started getting the Black Widow pencil sets round about when I started this, and to start with, I only had the one set of the actual Black Widow, kind of the original tin. So all of the red that you can see on both pages is from the Black Widows. So as you can see, they are incredibly bright, well pigmented pencils. Really love my Black Widows. Got one tin, realised how much I enjoyed them. So yes, I did end up buying all of them because they're just incredible. And there's such a great range of colours. So then I've got a load of gold glitter gel pen around the edge, and then even added some watercolour splatters into the background because I just wasn't too sure what to do. But by the time I'd coloured kind of both images and the corner bits, I thought it needs a bit of something, but I didn't know what. So I did a bit of watercolor splatters, and I think that finished it off nicely. So I did a bit of red, a bit of green, a bit of gold, just to bring some of the colors from the actual images. And I really love how I connected the lady and her dog spirit animal there with having the same color hair as the fur. And then the other double page spread that I've got in here, which I think was the first double page spread I did after kind of doing the title page, was this kind of steampunky page. So used a lot of distress ink in the background. Again, Inktense pencils, because this paper is amazing. It has shadowed a little bit, but that's nothing that I won't be able to cover up if I ever get around to colouring that side. And then I've got loads of glitter gel pen. That'll be the Sakura glaze there for her lipstick, and then loads of different watercolour paints. So this black glittery one is from a company called Dracula, as in like Dracula. She's got some really unusual colours of paints, and this is one of them, the black with loads and loads of glitter in, and it's just wonderful. And I can't remember what silver it is that I've got there, but one nice silvery one. And again, I've got a glittery watercolour paint for her eye as well. That one is from the same company, that Dracula. And again, I've got loads of glitter over here. So I was really pleased with how this turned out. So I'm not confident at colouring kind of metalwork with pencils, but give me gel pens and watercolour paints and I'm away. So lots of nice sparkle on that one. So I was really pleased with how that one turned out. Just such an unusual portrait. So even though I'm not keen on portraits, I was really pleased on that one. I think that's one reason why I've not coloured loads in this one, because her portrait's absolutely stunning, the ones that Hanna Karlzon draws. But like I said, I'm just not confident at doing skin. Like, I love this one. I can imagine the colours and everything in my head, but yeah, it's getting the skin. So at some point I will get around to colouring a bit more in that one. And I must point out as well that if you haven't got any Hanna Karlzon's books, I will try and link as many as I can down in the description below. There will be Amazon affiliate links, which won't cost you anything extra to purchase that way, but it does help to support the channel. I'll also include a link to this wax paper that I started using in the last year or two to protect in between my pages, because it looks so pretty and it does such a good job. And it's not actually that expensive. It's normally, depending on the price it is on Amazon, it's about £6-7-ish for 100 sheets, which obviously does last quite a while. So here I've got a bit of distress ink in the background. I did a little bit of water splattering and then used a bit of tissue to lift it up. Prismacolor and a little bit of gel pen there for the little bug. So I was really pleased with how that one turned out. Quite a limited, unusual colour palette for me, but I think it worked really well there. So then on this page, use some of the same colours again. So coloured the little mushroom, and again here got those Prismacolors out again, and those gel pens, and then had a go at a watercolour background, which I don't do very often. I do need to get a bit more confident at doing it a bit more often. Didn't go through. It's obviously made the paper a bit crinkly, but I do quite like the sound of it. Wasn't quite how I pictured it turning out, the watercolour background, but I do really like it. I think it's vibrant, which is what I was hoping for. You can tell it's watercolour, which is what I was hoping for, but I don't know, it's just something, I don't know whether I should have done the corners a little bit darker than I did and gone a bit brave, I'm not too sure. So then I added a few little dots on top with acrylic markers afterwards. See if that helped, but I still wasn't completely thrilled. Like I said, I think if I was doing it again, I'd perhaps be a bit braver and going a little bit darker on the corners. Whether that's what was missing from it, I'm not too sure. But anyway, I do really like how it turned out. See, don't normally write my name in because I don't like handwriting, but I do like to have kind of the title pages coloured. Then we've got this one here. So this was watercolour pencils, and I really like how I did kind of different colours for the fish and then tied in with like the little, I don't know whether they're meant to be jewels, coral, seaweed, I don't know, the patterns in between them. I picked out some of the colours from both fish and then used them and the little bits around just to tie them together. A little bit of stickles, so you can see how the extra glitz and glam on there, and a bit of a distress ink background, and again I splattered some watercolour paint on there. And then got a few done in this one. Then we've got this gorgeous book. So I went absolutely crackers with my gel pens here. The shine you can see there. So the book is all gel pen. It took quite a while, even though I only used a handful, because obviously I had to be really careful to making sure it was dry. So I tried to work carefully so that I didn't smudge it, and somehow I didn't, even though I'm terrible for thinking it's dry and then putting my hand in it and getting it everywhere. So I was really pleased that I didn't smudge it. It's nice and sparkly, and I thought, I don't know what to do for the background, but by that point I think I'd discovered Colour by Maya's channel, and she uses oil pastels all the time, and it looked so much fun. And I'd got a little set that I bought a while ago from Aldi, actually, of all places, when they'd had like the special buys on. So I thought, there's a nice big space, let's give it a go. So this is one of the first times I used oil pastel. So it's not the best finish, but I was really pleased with it because I think it makes the bug really stand out. The texture to it, I think, actually helps. Like, I'm glad that it's not completely smooth. I think it does work. And then I used the tip from Colour by Maya of using satin glazing liquid to kind of fix the oil pastel on. So I bought this specially just to use for fixing oil pastels because I didn't have it before. So I'm really glad of that tip from Maya. I'll link her channel down below. Let me just get this paper back on so that I don't get, it should be fixed, but especially for the gel pen, a bit worried it might transfer over. And then we've got this one, which I was really pleased with. This very unusual colour palette for me, but I really like how it finished off. So we've got Inktense for the hair, and then my Arteza watercolour pencils for the flowers, loads of glitter gel pen and watercolour paints as well. So that's why it's all so gorgeous and shiny. Again, the skin will be my Crayola Colours of the World pencils. They are quite a hard pencil. They're obviously not the best pencil because they are Crayola, but it is nice that they, you know, it is a limited, curated colour palette that is great for skin tones. So I do find it really useful for the few times I do portraits. I find it really useful. And then in the background, it's a little bit of distress ink, and then the tiniest little bit of watercolour splatter, although I think I perhaps should have added a bit more on because it doesn't show up all that well. But it is there. So I'm really pleased with how that one turned out. So that's everything out of Summer Nights. Move that one out of the way. So our next one, and then, like I say, they're not in any particular order. We've got Jewellery Box. And I should point out as well, if you're interested in ever doing a buddy colour with me, even if it's in a few months' time when you're watching this video, please drop me a comment down below or get in touch with me on Instagram. I'm the same name on Instagram as I am on here, as Polly puts the colour on, and the same logo. So it would be lovely to hear from you because I'm always up for doing the buddy colour because it does kind of, you know, push you to make some new friends, which is why I started YouTube in the first place, to connect with more colourists. But also I just love how, you know, one page can just turn out so differently depending on who colours it. So as you see, this is one of the few books that I still haven't got to doing the title page or the little, you know, motif page there. So I do need to get to that. Like I said, my mum and dad bought me quite a few of the books in one go. So I kind of, you know, got into colouring in the actual book, but I still haven't gone back to doing this. So I do need, it's on my list. I'll get to it at some point. But here, it's pretty much all watercolour paints. So I had some new ones from, I think, believe these ones would have been from Watercolor, like I mentioned earlier, and they are just absolutely gorgeous paints. And I had a lot of fun doing that. I had to draw back in some of the black line detail, but not in all places. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. By the time I'd coloured the bugs, I thought, oh, does it need anything on the background? And I thought, actually, I think it's kind of colourful and sparkly enough. So I left it as it was. I'll just add a bit of paper in there, though. Then this page, you can see I had a lot of fun on the other side and used a lot of water, and it's accidentally gone through. So at some point, I would love to colour this page because it's so pretty. You can imagine doing a lovely sparkly jewel there, but yeah, I'll need to do a bit of fixing. But I was really pleased with it. I think I probably should have put some tape around the edge and made sure that I didn't go right to the edge with the watercolour paint, but you know, lesson learned. I had a lot of fun doing it there. So again, loads of glitter gel pen on the actual butterflies, and then watercolour paint. As you can see, it's one of the like the split ones, again from that company Watercolor. They've got loads of like different split paints. I've bought quite a few of them and I don't use them quite as often as I perhaps should do. I need to get a bit braver with my watercolours. And then in the background, I splattered on top then some other watercolour paints, and then there was some little dots already drawn in. So I went over those with the silver gel pen. So it's quite a simple page, but it was a lot of fun to do, especially with the watercolour paint in the background. But yes, I do need to go in and fix that page a little bit. Just get that covered back up. There we go. I love that one. It's so cute, isn't it? I do love cats. And then we've got this page. So this was mainly Inktense pencils for the flowers and the leaves. Tiny bit of shading, but not really on the leaves. Mainly just left it as the Inktense. And glitter gel pen on the bugs. Probably the dual hybrid, I think, looking at the colours. And then the jewels, again, I'd had some new paints from Watercolor, so I used that for the different jewels, and that didn't go through. It's a little bit of ghosting from the gel pens, actually, of all things. Nothing else really went through, but I really love how that one turned out. And then did a bit of distress ink in the background, like a nice dark moody colour, just so that then the jewels and the flowers would kind of pop a little bit more. So I really like how that one finished off. And then I've got another one in this one. This was a nice simple one. I think this is one of the first ones I coloured in this book, actually. So I used my Arteza watercolour pencils, and I really love how I did the flowers. I'll just bring it up to the camera so you can see it a bit closer. I love the different colours that I got in there. And then I went in really carefully with my Sakura glaze pen, and did the little dots on there. And then for the birds, I used a load of glitter gel pens and watercolour paints, and then use the same colours down on the bottom. So I'm not sure whether they were meant to be rocks or jewels, but I decided they would be kind of jewels or magical rocks. And then a little bit of chalk pastel in the background for that one. So I'm really pleased with how that one turned out. It was a lot of fun to do. Quite simple, but I do love the colours that I did on the flowers. I think they turned out really pretty. So that's everything that I've done in Jewellery Box. Then we've got Daydreams, and I haven't done an awful lot in this one, which is a shame because it is gorgeous artwork. I think I just forget sometimes which of Hannah's books I haven't coloured in much. So I have spent quite a while lately adding in onto the app bookshelf all of my colouring books and adding in how many pages that I've coloured in each one. So hopefully that will mean that I don't miss out on keeping up to date with spreading out my colouring in my Hanna Karlzon books, that I don't inadvertently focus on one more than any of the others, because I would like to give them all a bit of love. So if you're interested in using the bookshelf app, I suggest that you check out Colouring Bumblebee's channel, because Jess has done such an amazing video where she kind of talks you through how to add books in and how she uses it, and it made it really straightforward. Just take a little bit of time, but I'm glad that I did it, because like I said, I've realised now which books I need to focus on a little bit more. So here just used some Prismacolor pencils just to do the little motif, and then on here I did water-based markers, little bit of gel pen, and that was it. Didn't do any shading, no pencil or anything on this one, just watercolor markers, bit of gel pen. Did the little bug there the same way as well. Not too sure as the colours particularly go here. It is a little bit garish, isn't it? But it's a page done, and I'm glad that I got the title page done in it. And then this one is one of my favourite images out of the book. I think I perhaps should have spent a little bit longer on the fur, but I do on the whole like this page. So I did Inktense for the background, then Prismacolor pencils for everything else, like all the leaves and the mushrooms, and then went in with watercolor paint for the flowers, the shell on the snail, and then all the other little details as well is watercolor paint, and then went over some of the line work with some gel pens and added a glittery paint over the top of the mushrooms as well, just to give them a bit of a shine. So I do really like how it turned out. I think I perhaps just should have spent a little bit longer on the fur, but this was coloured a few years ago, before I was a bit more confident on how to use my Prismacolors on how to do fur. So on the whole, I am still pleased with how it turned out, because I think the colour palette and everything as a whole works really well there. And that's unfortunately all I've got coloured in Daydreams, which surprised me. I thought I'd done more in that one, so I need to get back to that at some point. And another one that I've not coloured in as much as I thought is Seasons. So I have done just the little motif there. That was just water-based markers, tiniest little bit of gel pen and white gel pen, and that was it. Still need to go in and do these title pages. And then I did do this one though. So watercolor background, again, it's not the best, but I do like the colours I picked, but it's either not smooth enough or not patchy enough. It's just an awkward bit in between, I think. Like, I think I should have either added a bit more or a bit less watercolour and it would have looked better, but never mind. So then I used Prismacolor pencils for those bits and on there, and then added, I think it's from the Art Spirits, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the watercolor paint that's got the red glitter in. So I coloured the jewel in red and then went over it with the red glittery paint just to make it even more magical and sparkly, and used loads of different gel pens and watercolor paints down the bottom. And I used, for the glass, I used another one of the Art Spirits paints, one of the ones that's got like a light glitter in, and then a bit of gold watercolor paint in the background as well. So I'm really pleased with how it turned out in terms of the colours. But yeah, I think the watercolor paint definitely needed a bit more practice on that. But it was still fun to do. And then there's this one, which I absolutely love. So this one was done, I can't remember, it was last year, year before. It's quite a recent one, this one. So I used a bit of Inktense pencils and then mainly Prismacolors, so that's why it's so lovely and vibrant. Then I went in with purple gel pen all on the hair. I made the little cat's collar match. Distress ink for the background. Then for the glow there, I went in carefully with a gold glitter gel pen. So really pleased with how this one turned out. Bit of a cliche, I guess, with the witch with the purple hair and the green skin, but I don't know, I really love it, and I think it ties in nicely with the green of the leaves, because I used some of the same colours of green on her as on the leaves, just obviously made the leaves a little bit darker, but I do really love that one. That was obviously coloured for Halloween in the last couple of years. So that's everything out of that one. So then the last book that I'll share with you in this video, because it's already getting quite long, is Magical Dawn, which is one of my favourite Hanna Karlzon ones, but again, unfortunately, I've not coloured in it quite as much as I thought I had. So here, the actual frog was done with Prismacolor. then I used watercolor paint and glitter gel pen for everything else. So super duper sparkly, love it. Such a fun little motif to colour there. And then here, this was one of the first times I ever did a black background on a page. So I used a Tombow black water brush marker, which didn't go through. I think I ended up doing 2 coats in the end so that it wasn't patchy. Used Inktense pencils for like the blue, the purples, the oranges, and all the the gems and things. And then kind of through the, whether it's meant to be smoke or I don't know, but I used a lot of watercolor paints there and gel pen as well for all the stars. So I was really, really pleased with how that turned out. It took an awfully long time. Oh, and on the kind of the labels and the stopper and the hourglass, again, I use those gorgeous sparkly paints from the Art Spirits. They're just wonderful for adding on top of other things like colour with pencil, Inktense, whatever, and then add it on because it adds such a cool effect to it. Perhaps doesn't show up as much on camera, but in person you can really see it, and it just finishes pages off so well, I think. So this one was a really quick, simple one. So mainly glitter gel pens here, really. A little bit of watercolor paint, and then a little bit of chalk pastel in the background, and that was it. Perhaps should have gone a bit bolder with the background, but actually it was a fun one to do. Again, I used that glittery watercolor paint on top of that little jar there. That was a lot of fun to do, and obviously didn't take too long either. And then here, you see, I had another go with a watercolor background, but I remembered to put a bit of tape around the edge, which has obviously meant that nothing has gone through on the reverse. So lesson learned there from the other page that I showed you. And then I used a load of glitter gel pen and watercolor paints for the actual keys themselves, because like I've mentioned, I'm not confident at colouring metal work with pencils. You know, I really admire people that can do that and have got the patience for it and the skill and the knowledge. For me, I'd rather just get my glittery gel pens and paints out and get the sparkle. And yes, it's not as realistic looking, but I had fun, and that's the main thing. So that's the last page out of this Hanna Karlzon book, Magical Dawn, and that's the last one that I'll share in this video. So in part 2, we'll look at all of her newer books, all of the smaller format ones, and I have got those like the kids version that have been available, as well as the Colouring Heaven one. So like I said, if you're interested in doing a buddy colour in any Hanna Karlzon book, please drop me a comment down below or get in touch with me on Instagram. It would be lovely to hear from you. Like I said, that's one of the main reasons why I started YouTube, was to get in touch with more people, because like probably a lot of you that are watching, I don't know anybody kind of in real life, so to speak, that does do adult colouring. So it is lovely to have made some new friends through my YouTube. So if you have enjoyed this video, like I said, please subscribe, click like, drop me a comment down below, because it will really help the channel to grow. And it does mean an awful lot to me. Whenever I get a notification that somebody's commented or a new subscriber or anything, it really does put a big smile on my face. So it really does mean an awful lot. And it is very much appreciated. So keep a lookout for part 2. That should be out relatively soon, in the next week or so, hopefully. So take care, everyone. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.